Congratulations, Clint, on this amazing award.
Congratulations, and we're so proud of you.
Congrats on this wonderful award, Clint.
Clint, we are so proud to be able to say that you are part of our Teach for America family, and I am so proud to see what you are going to do in the future.
It was truly evident how passionate he was and still is, obviously, for education for his students, and that continues today.
It's been an honor to watch you grow from afar. As we both started our teaching career in the DC region, it's been really beautiful to see just all the places you're going and how you're making a positive impact in the world.
Thank you so much for sharing your words and wisdom with the world. It's a wonder to watch the impact you've had on so many people's lives.
I have seen your incredible impact take root, from parents to students to teachers to elders and so many other folks.
Just very proud to see all of his accomplishments, from Harvard to his book, and I'm sure that he's going to continue to motivate and educate us for many more years.
You're motivational, you're truthful, you deliver truth with grace and with love, and you always push the world to be a better place.
What I see time and time again is the hope that you've given to so many people, myself included, through your words as you continue to strive towards justice.
Thank you so much for everything you have given to students and truly to our nation.
Congratulations again, Clint.
Congratulations on this award, you're so deserving.
Sending you love and admiration.
Congrats again, Clint.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ricardo Neal, and I serve as chair of the board of directors of LearnServe International. It is with great pleasure that I introduce you to our 2022 Civic Champion awardee, Clint Smith. As a social worker, an educator, and perhaps most importantly, as a Black man, I'm always inspired by my peers doing cutting-edge work. My friends knew of my interest in Black men in education and shared your TED Talk with me as a must-listen item. Clint, I've been a fan ever since, which was well before I knew you were part of the LearnServe family. As you can imagine, this moment is quite moving for me. Serendipity brought you to LearnServe. You met Kathy Tinsley, my predecessor as chair of the board of LearnServe, at a Teach for America gathering in 2012, when you were an English teacher at Parkdale High School. I'm so glad your students had that experience. You shared with them and the generations of LearnServe scholars that you mentored, your passion for education, art, activism, and justice. Since earning your PhD from the Harvard Graduate School of Education in 2020, you've brought your voice to a larger audience as a staff writer at The Atlantic and as the best-selling author of How the Word is Passed, a narrative nonfiction book exploring the history of slavery in North America. We're in a moment when American history has been closely examined and contested. You bring life to those people and places from Black American history most at risk of being erased. Yours is a voice that all of us, young and old, need to hear right now. Thank you for your vision and your voice. On behalf of the LearnServe Board of Directors and the entire LearnServe family, it is my great honor to recognize you with the 2022 Civic Champion Award from LearnServe International. Congratulations to you, sir.
My name is Clint Smith, and I'm a staff writer at The Atlantic, author of the poetry collection Counting Descent, the narrative nonfiction book How the Word is Passed, and host of the YouTube series Crash Course Black American History. I'm also a former high school English teacher at Parkdale High School in Prince George's County, Maryland, where my students and I work with LearnServe. So this incredible community has been a part of my life for almost a decade now. Part of what I love about LearnServe is it gave my students an opportunity to meet other young people from a range of different backgrounds who they might otherwise not have encountered, to see them share ideas, provide new perspectives, and wrestle with big questions alongside people who came from both similar and different communities than they did was a special reminder of how proximity, generosity, and collaboration can help foster a deeper sense of collectiveness and give us the tools to build a better world. In my own work, part of what I try to do is help people think about how history has shaped the contemporary landscape of inequality. If we want to spark change, We have to recognize that so much of the history we tell ourselves was a long time ago really wasn't that long ago at all. History shaped the present. Context matters. I think it's essential, for young people especially, to understand this, to understand the reason one community experiences poverty and another community experiences affluence is not simply because of the people in those communities, but it's also about what has been done to, given to, or taken from those communities via laws and policies over the course of generations. Understanding that gives us the tools to move forward and create a more just society. I'm honored to be here with you all tonight and honored to be recognized by this organization that does such great and important work. In my most recent book, How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America, I explore how different historical sites reckon with or fail to reckon with their own relationship to the history of slavery. And so for me, part of what that meant was exploring my own relationship to the iconography, the symbolism, the statues, the monuments, the museums that reflect this history. And a lot of what I thought about were the statues of the Confederacy that I grew up surrounded by in my hometown in New Orleans. And so while the book of How the Word is Passed is a book of narrative nonfiction, my origin story is that of a poet. And I wrote a lot of poems in order to get a sense of what I was trying to say in the larger nonfiction project and wanted to share one of these poems with you. And when you're a poet writing nonfiction, sometimes you take your stanzas and you turn them into paragraphs and you throw them in at the end of one of your chapters and hope your editor is okay with it. So while this is a poem on its own, but it also is an excerpt and a sort of adaptation from the end of one of my chapters. Growing up, the iconography of the Confederacy was an ever-present fixture of my daily life. Every day on the way to school, I passed a statue of P.G.T. Beauregard riding on horseback, his Confederate uniform slung over his shoulder, and his military cap pulled far down over his eyes. As a child, I did not know who P.G.T. Beauregard was. I did not know he was the man who ordered the first attack that opened the Civil War. I did not know he was one of the architects who designed the Confederate battle flag. I did not know he led an army predicated on maintaining the institution of slavery. What I knew is that he looked like so many of the other statues that ornamented the edges of this city, these copper garlands of a past that saw truth as something that should be buried underground and silenced by the soil. After the war, the sons and daughters of the Confederacy reshaped the contours of treason into something they could name as honorable. They call it the lost cause, and it crept its way into textbooks that attempted to cover up a crime that was still unfolding. They told us that Robert E. Lee was an honorable man, guilty of nothing but fighting for the state and the people that he loved, that the Southern flag was about heritage and remembering those slain fighting to preserve their way of life. But see, the thing about the lost cause is that it's only lost if you're not actually looking. The thing about heritage is that it's a word that also means I'm ignoring what we did to you. I was taught the Civil War wasn't about slavery, but I was never taught how the Declaration of Confederate Secession had the promise of human bondage carved into its stone. I was taught the war was about economics, but I was never taught that in 1860 the 4 million enslaved black people were worth more than every bank, factory, and railroad combined. I was taught the Civil War was about states' rights, but I was never taught how the Fugitive Slave Act could care less about a border and spell Georgia and Massachusetts the exact same way. It's easy to look at a flag and call it heritage when you don't see the black bodies buried behind it. It's easy to look at a statue and call it history when you ignore the laws written in its wake. I come from a city that is filled with statues of white men on pedestals and black children playing beneath them, where we played trumpets and trombones to drown out the Dixie song that still whistled in the wind. In New Orleans, there were over 100 roads, schools, and buildings named for Confederate soldiers and slaveholders. Every day, black children would walk into buildings named after people who never wanted them to be there. Every time I would return home, I would drive on streets named for those who wanted me in chains, go straight for 2 miles on Robert E. Lee, take a left on Jefferson Davis, make the first right on Claiborne in translation, go straight for 2 miles on the general who slaughtered hundreds of black soldiers who were trying to surrender, take a left on the president of the Confederacy who made the torture of black bodies the cornerstone of his new nation, make the first right on the man who mounted the heads of rebelling slaves on stakes and spread them across the city in order to prevent the others from getting any ideas. What name is there for this sort of violence? What do you call it when the road you walk on is named for those who imagined you under a noose? What do you call it when the roof over your head is named after people who would have wanted the bricks to crush you?
Hi, my name is Lauren Hilliard. I'm a freshman at the Potomac School, and this story was just one of many experiences that I've had with code switching. My venture is centered around code switching and the effects it has on people of color at my school. But what exactly is code switching? Well, it's a term that was coined by Einar Hagen in 1954, meaning changing, describing language alternation, or the mixing of two or more languages or dialects, or in more modern terms, the switching of tone or dialect to fit a situation or a demographic. Based on a survey that I sent out to 30 people of color, ranging from academic divisions to students and faculty, on a scale of 1 to 10, people found themselves code switching in daily conversations 6 out of 10 times. More than half, which is where my venture comes into play. I want to conduct many seminars with affinity groups at my school to bring awareness and talk about code switching so that people can actively make choices to fully be themselves during conversations. With my venture, my community will be one step closer to being as inclusive as possible. Thank you.
96, 126, and 146. These are the costs of the cheapest APs this year to the most expensive. 96, 126, and 146. Hi, my name is Anusha Krishnan, and my venture, Absolute Success, works towards mitigating the opportunity and achievement gap through direct service, fundraising, and works advocacy, and works to foster a sense of community and empowerment for all students. It has three main parts to it: a redistribution drive to repurpose unused AP books, a club which focuses on outreach and advocacy in the community, such as school supply drives, and even initiatives around the world, such as a pen pal program. And lastly, a website to tie it all together and serve as an easy platform to spread information and make others aware of the available resources. We are currently in the process of sorting out logistics of the club, but it has already been approved by my school's administration. We have many ideas as to what our agenda for the coming year will look like and are so excited to begin. Absolute Success, absolutely securing educational equity and achievement one chapter at a time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margaret Banda from Zambia, and I am focusing on good health and well-being. I have carried out my research, and I have found out that many people in my community lack clean water supply, and I have come up with a solution. I want to educate and inform my community on how they can keep their water clean and also clean their surroundings to prevent them from being sick. I also want to distribute and provide sanitabs to the people in my community. This will help them in disinfecting their surfaces, bathrooms, and toilets. This also works in purifying their drinking water. Thank you, LearnSafe, for providing a platform where we can come together and share our ideas and also bringing our dreams to life and helping our community. Thank you.